Oops.
Okay, on you go. That's brilliant. That's looking good.
Okay, so yeah, so as I was saying earlier, Northern Ireland outdoor activities, we're definitely not in the same kind of place as they are in Scotland. Tourism, well, actually, before I go on to that, Tourism Northern Ireland are looking at developing a strategy, but I think it's going to be at least kind of 12 months out before that's launched, and then obviously getting implemented and stuff after that. So yeah, so I don't think we're in the same place. However, what I can do today is try and give you a bit of an overview as to some of the kind of the market trends, what Tourism Ireland ourselves can maybe help with, and then kind of have a little kind of overview of opportunities towards the end. So here's some of the market trends that I've seen. So the outdoor industry generated over 192 million consumer spending in 2019. Obviously, you can see there with the key elements was around kind of cycling and boats, clothing and outdoor centres. But Sport and I kind of see it as a growing sector, and definitely something that both they're looking at in line with tourism businesses as well. So it's definitely something that is growing. And then with regards to kind of market trends at the moment, airports are running at 80% of 2019 capacity, and you can probably see from the news reports that's having an impact on people travelling. But we are getting back up to 2019 levels, and as we know, 2019 was the best year for tourism in Northern Ireland. So that's great. The ferry traffic into Northern Ireland has already surpassed 2019 figures this year. So we are seeing that people are travelling, and they are coming back onto the island, and then that is reflected in consumer sentiment. Both Tourism NI and Tourism Ireland have done a lot of sentiment research, and you can see the signs are pointed to a really strong recovery. 60% of international holidaymakers stating that they can't wait to get away. Over 50% saying that they will get away this year, no matter what. Value for money will be a key driver, but not necessarily cheap. And I think that is something that we have to be aware of. People are looking to have experiences. They want to do something different, and they are conscious of how much it's costing. But if they feel that it's value for money, then they will purchase it. So it's definitely, when we're thinking about the products and putting it out there into the market, it's definitely making sure that we can show that it is value for money. And then 71% of Republic of Ireland holidaymakers will take a holiday on the island of Ireland this year. So that's a big amount of people who are saying that they are going to be staying. And I think that's something for us to think about, and I'll touch on later on, is that kind of real close to home market. Changing visitor needs and expectations. Visitors looking for bespoke offerings. I think Brian's presentation was fantastic in that he really kind of has highlighted what people are looking for. It is something that is different, something that is unique, something that's authentic to the location. Those once in a lifetime experiences, that's what people want to do now. They want to tick those things off their bucket list and do those things that they've kind of maybe been putting off for a while. And I think they really want to kind of engage with locals, and kind of feel that they're benefiting local communities. They want to see the money that they're spending actually going directly into the local community, and they really want to kind of understand local culture. And especially here in Northern Ireland, people have a certain view of what Northern Ireland is. Most of them, when they come here, that view is totally changed. So they do want to kind of get a real understanding of the culture here. And then, as has been mentioned before, big focus on health and well-being. sustainability, nature and the outdoors. And we've seen that in particular with the likes of the Gobbins. You know, once we were able to reopen last year, the numbers of visitors just went through the roof. And the feedback we were getting from them is that after so much time being kind of indoors, getting back out into nature and into the natural environment was what they wanted, and that still continues even to now. I mean, I've been away at a number of shows, meeting with operators from around the world, and they're all saying the same thing, that their clients want to get away, they want to be outdoors, they want to experience nature. So I think the products that you guys are offering really kind of taps into that. But the key thing, and again, as Brian pointed out in his presentation, was, you know, we need to create the wow factor. It's what differentiates us from every other destination, what differentiates your product from everybody else. You know, how do you take your product, as Brian says, from being just like a tour into being an experience? And I think if you can do that, that's what visitors are looking for. So really what we're seeing, I mean, I caught a little bit of what Stuart was saying in regard to what Visit Scotland were looking at, and we would agree to a certain extent in that our key markets this year are going to be the close to home markets, Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. European markets, they are coming back, but it's going to be slower. We have seen the US market returning, not in the same numbers, but they are definitely thinking about the Ukraine, and that is impacting on their decisions. As you probably know, Americans, they view all of Europe as kind of one. So when something happens in one part, you know, they assume it's the whole of Europe. The only advantage that we have, being on the island of Ireland, is that we are the closest point to America. So sometimes, because we're a little bit set away from mainland Europe, we're kind of viewed as a little bit different. But going back to our kind of key markets for this year, and definitely going into next year, is definitely the closer to home markets of Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland. And the three kind of key groups that have been identified by Tourism NI are what we call aspiring families. So you can see there, these people have a strong family focus. They like to do a lot of research. They pay attention to price. They're seeking value, but again, it's that, you know, value for money. But they need activities that can suit children. Now, again, that might be appealing to your product or not, but that's definitely a key market. And we've already started to see that. Again, just looking at the Gobbins, you know, we've had a big kind of push on families, and the reaction has been fantastic. And it was a market that we hadn't even considered before the pandemic. The other key group is natural quality seekers, and these are probably going to be your key market. You know, they're looking for kind of quality accommodation. Nature lovers enjoy the outdoors. You know, okay, there's a preference for gentle activities, but they also want to do activities, and they will fit these things into kind of like short breaks, of which they will have a number throughout the year. But they like to have kind of a clear itinerary and know exactly what they're going to be doing during that break. So again, making it as easy as possible for them to be able to do that is definitely going to help. And again, you can start to see, you know, that sustainability started to kind of come through as well. And then the third kind of key group, again, could be very important for your products, is the social Instagrammers. You know, they're looking for the kind of the buzz. And okay, you know, they're seeking kind of nightlife and great pubs, but they also want to do stuff during the day. They're not just here just to go out partying the whole time. They want to do things. They want to do things that are unique. They want to do things that they can put on their Instagrams. So yeah, that's definitely a market. And again, as Brian was saying, very heavily on social media. So you need to make sure that your social media presence is quite strong, and utilizing those really real strong kind of content. And then looking at the GB market, This is from Tourism Ireland. So, you know, their kind of key markets are the culturally curious. Again, going back to what we're talking about with the trends, you know, they want to meet with local, explore places, broaden their minds. And, you know, they estimate that there's 4.4 million of those within Great Britain. And then the other key market there would be social energizers. Again, a bit like the social Instagrammers for the NI and ROI market. But again, they're looking for adrenaline-filled adventures, activities, and things with the wow factor. And again, it's a huge part of the market. There are 2.7 million people in Great Britain kind of fall into that grouping. So there is real potential, and GB makes up a huge percentage of visitors to Northern Ireland. So it's a market not to be overlooked. And then talking specifically about Tourism NI, you've probably kind of seen there's been a lot of kind of support that they've put out over the last couple of years with regards to supporting businesses through COVID. They have a range of different kind of business supports, and if you go onto tourismni.com, you can have a look at those and avail of them, and very much around kind of marketing support. And that's focused on their website, the Discover NI. They have very strong social channels, ongoing marketing campaigns, and you might have just seen have come out, I think yesterday, via the Hotel Federation, that there's a small fund available for the summer. And if you haven't seen it, drop me an email and I'll send you on the details. But yeah, there is a fund available where you can actually get up to 60% back from Tourism NI. And then they are working with Tourism Ireland, developing, there's lots of different shows and promotions going on throughout the year. And they are starting to look at more kind of outdoor and adventure shows as well. But don't just think that you need to be going to outdoor and adventure shows. I was recently down in Bloom in Dublin, and the interest that we got from a whole range of different people really kind of opened my eyes to the fact that you can't really say, oh, these type of people are going to be interested in this, or this promotion's only going to be for where you're only going to see this type of people. You're getting a whole mix of people at different events and promotions. And then Tourism Ireland, obviously, they look after pretty much the rest of the world. Anywhere outside the island of Ireland, they will do the promotions there. So you can see, you know, they have a strong presence in North America and Australia, obviously the Great Britain as well, mainland Europe. That's all of the kind of the key markets that they cover there as well, and also the emerging markets. And Tourism Ireland are a real great resource, as well as doing kind of shows, promotions in all of these kind of key markets. They also, you can put your offers through to them, and they will be distributed across the markets, depending on what those markets are doing at different times. But yeah, they're always looking for new offers to put out there. They're also looking for new content as well, that they will use on their social media. And a lot of it is actually free. So, you know, if you just provide like an offer with some content, they will usually put it out on one of their platforms as well. And they also have a massive database of people who they send out regular e-zines to. So a real lot of opportunities with Tourism Ireland, looking at targeting those markets. So if there's any of those markets that you feel, you know, you've either started to get some traction there or you want to develop, then Tourism Ireland can definitely help you there. And if you want any details on contacts and stuff, then let me know and I'll be able to put you in touch with them. And then from a council point of view, we've obviously work with yourselves and all the other businesses within the borough. And my role, and Zoe, who you've probably all met or had interactions with, you know, our role is really to look at how we can both promote Mid and East Antrim as a destination, but also to look at supporting businesses. And we do that in a number of ways. So, you know, marketing would be kind of our key activity, and as part of that, we would go and attend shows. So even if our individual businesses can't attend the shows, we will be going out to those shows and promoting the borough there as well. We also do a lot of promotion of our website and our social platforms. And then, as I said, a lot of business support, which you'll probably get coming through from Zoe. So this is some of the marketing that we've done. You've maybe kind of seen it out and about. We did a big program around new experiences, where we developed the 2 new visitor hubs, Whitehead and Island McGee and Glenarm and Carnlock. So that came from funding from both DERA and Tourism NI. And it really fits into what visitors are looking for, this idea that they can go to one location and have multiple experiences within that location. And that's something that we've really kind of jumped on the back of and developed, and are really looking at how we now can support those experiences throughout this year, and then look at developing these visitor hubs in other parts of the borough as well. So I'm just going to show you, if I can, a quick little video just to kind of give you a highlight of the marketing that we did around this. So that's one of the quick kind of 10-second social media videos that we did. And we did about 5 for each of the hubs that went out pretty much through kind of March and April. So that kind of gives you an idea as to how we're starting to promote it. And then obviously that's encouraging people to go through onto the website or through the social media channels. Attendance at shows, as I mentioned recently at the Bloom show, and as you can see there, the promotion there is of the Causeway Coastal Route. Somebody's put the Hoover on there. So yeah, just to kind of give you a bit of background, we have been working with Causeway Coast and Glens Council, and we've both come to an agreement that we are going to be really promoting the Causeway Coastal Route as the main reason for people to come and visit, especially from the out-of-state market. We have a meeting with Tourism NI in July to look at how they're going to work with us to reinvigorate the whole Causeway Coastal Route and put a much stronger emphasis on it. So that will give us a much stronger kind of brand out in the marketplace, and we will be going out to all of the shows now using the Causeway Coastal Route as the key attractor. And as I said, we also do a lot of promotion on our website and our social platforms, and we're always looking for new content as well. So again, if you have anything, then don't hesitate and send it through to us, because we're always going to look at different ways in which we can promote different areas. And experiences and activities are definitely going to be one of the key focuses for us going forward. And then, as I said, business engagement. Zoe is always available. For you to drop her an email or give her a quick call, and she's kind of has her finger on the pulse of what's going on. But she's also a very good point of contact for finding out, what funding is out there, what's happening, what Tourism Ireland's doing, what Tourism Northern Ireland's doing, opportunities and developments within the borough. So yeah, she would be a key point of contact for you guys with regards to business engagement. And then really to finish up, all of the kind of the key stakeholders I've spoken about there. Our key role is really to looking at how we can help and support businesses and encourage that collaboration. None of us can do this by ourselves. It's all about kind of working together and looking at who can support who in different areas. So, for example, for a business like yourself, looking at, can you get support from council, or is it Tourism NI that you need to speak to, or looking at international markets, is there things that Tourism Ireland can help you with? So it's all about, kind of looking who's out there who can provide support, because there is a huge amount of support out there. I think on a kind of a more business level, I think looking at complementary businesses within the area really will help, because not only can you use these complementary businesses to enhance your product, by linking in with accommodation or attractions or places to eat, by working with them, they will also be able to kind of promote your business. And I put a little note there about Galgorm. So Galgorm Resort, as you guys probably know, I mean, it's a huge destination in its own right, but they now see themselves as having to work with local businesses, because their visitors now are no longer just happy enough to just come and stay in the resort. They want to get out and about and have an experience and do different things within the borough. So Galgorm are looking at offering these different experiences to their clients, and they promote worldwide as well, and they have a huge client base. So it's definitely worth touching base with the likes of Galgorm, the likes of Ballygally, and looking at how you can work together with those complementary businesses. As I said earlier, about adding value, looking at who you can link with that's going to add value to your product. Are there other ways in which you can add value by working with people? And then one of the ways you can look at working with other businesses is look at clustering. As I mentioned there, we've just developed those experience hubs, and if you're located within those hub areas, we're more than happy to look at how you can get involved in that. But there is also the wider Causeway Coastal Route cluster, and I know Elwyn is he is one of the I was going to say chair people, but he's the cluster chair for the Gobbins. So and that's something that we as council are keen to work with those clusters, because they obviously are working with businesses on the ground, and they give us a great source of information on what needs to be done in order to help and support local businesses. So that was a very kind of quick overview. I'll take off my sharing now, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thanks for that, Jason. I mean, one of the things I know with the chats I've had with Adam, Elwyn, Paul, and Jim, there's definitely a sense of, them wanting to work together with themselves, but obviously, in a broader church with other organisations. And I think, as we've all been saying, it's all about, working together, collaboration, joining things up. So it sounds like there are some, it's obviously good for us to get that insight into what's happening, but it sounds like there's some initiatives there that the businesses can tap into, but also it's about getting involved and being engaged. If you see, I mean, are making the time to do that. Sorry, that was me just jumping in, but yeah, obviously, sorry.
I was just going to say there, Fergus, and for you guys, Elwyn, Pete, and Jim, and is that, and what Jason has been going through and covering about what you're doing in Mid and East Antrim, Tourism Ireland, and Tourism NI, and talk about what the consumer's looking for. In real terms, it's no different to what Scotland's doing. Yeah. And actually, that's why it's really, really important that, as Brian was saying, what's that wow factor? What gives you that standout that can come there? And actually, when you're talking about Galgorm there, Jason, they're advertising in the Central Belt in Scotland. So they are out there. So they're almost the Gleneagles equivalent in Northern Ireland, because they're going to draw people from the island of Ireland, but B, from people further afield, because it's that big experience. And that's that whole thing. And I think it just shows you that I don't know if you guys were because the breakout room didn't necessarily work, but it's a competitive market out there, and everyone's looking to travel, and it's how you actually get over that hurdle. That's my wee contribution.
Elwyn, Jim, I Adam, any questions just while we've got the time this evening?
I have one wee quick question now, a practical thing. If you were to tie up with the likes of Gilgorm or someone like that, how do you see that panning out? Would they be like a tour operator where the client books through Gilgorm and we just get paid by Gilgorm at some stage, or what's the best way for that to work out?
It really depends. So what Gilgorm tend to do is they will promote your business. So they will go out and say, come and stay at Gilgorm. While you're here, you can go and do, you know, this fantastic boat experience, and then they will contact you, but the client will book directly with you. Yep. However, sometimes if they are dealing with operators who are looking specifically for like a package, they will look at how they can do it, but they won't act like as a tour operator. They will always push them to you in order to make the bookings.
So what's in it for Gilgorm? Why should they have our leaflets in the front desk? Why should they do it?
The reason being is that their clients now are demanding to know, what else can I do? Yeah, I can come and stay at Gilgorm, and yes, it's great, but what else am I going to do in the area? And Gilgorm don't want to lose those potential clients. So essentially what they want to do is say, come to Gilgorm, but you can do all of this and base yourselves here. And look, we've seen the benefit of that as well, where they will bring in big groups and then they will come to us and say, okay, you know, who can we talk to about doing experiences for these people? And that's where you guys come in. You know, if they're aware of what your product is, then when they've got these groups coming in, they'll say, actually, you know what, why not go out on a boat, or why not go out for a walk, or, you know, do a trek up the mountain? That's, they know in order to expand outside of Northern Ireland, they need to sell the destination as opposed to just Gilgorm.
It's a really good point. Now, there's been an emerging trend probably in the last couple of years where accommodation providers have recognised that they're not just selling a bed night anymore, and that's a very competitive marketplace on price. So what they're trying to do is like add the value. It's not the bed night. It's like, you know, business people might want to go for a jog in the morning, so they get somebody who can take them for a run. And it's all about just what you've been talking about. What are the things to do when I'm in the destination? So the bed night becomes like a paradox in itself. It's like you get them in, but you need to sell your destination, and it's the components of the food and drink, the activities, the head. It sounds like we keep on saying the same things, and it sounds like sometimes it's easy to say, but it is about bringing that all together, and that's been an emerging trend that's been definitely happening in the last 2 or 3 years.
So rather than 4 or 5 different activities or experiences going to the likes of Gilgorm with individual leaflets on separate days, is there a more joined up approach we can have here where one individual goes and represents, you know, Adam and Jim and myself and anybody else?
I think that definitely works. But ultimately, Gilgorm are gonna look at what's going to work for their clients and what they feel is gonna match what they're offering it. But yeah, definitely it's much easier to deal with one person as to deal with 5. So yeah, I mean, if you guys are looking at kind of working together and want to approach a Gilgorm, definitely give me a call, and I can help set up the meeting and stuff like that, because I would speak to them regularly. And saying that, I mean, I've got a hotel meeting tomorrow where I'm now meeting with hoteliers. And again, this is very much about looking at what their needs are, but also looking at opportunities where we can bring in the likes of yourselves to kind of say, this is our offering. You know, if somebody's looking for this, then this is what we can provide. But I think the key thing is being very, very clear on what your product is and what you can offer, and also what benefit that's going to bring to the likes of Gilgorm or Ballygally and stuff like that.
If there was sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Elwyn, that why are Gilgorm doing it? What's the benefit to them? Consumers. The consumer's asking for it, so therefore they're reacting to that. And if the 3 of you can bundle something together, you know, without getting down to the dreaded EU packaging regulations XYZ 27 third price removed. If you guys can bundle something together that creates a wow factor of 2 or 3 different things, and you can go to Galgorm and say, look, we've got this, a bit like Brian was talking about, we've got these fantastic experiences, gives great added value to your guests staying here, looking for something to do, because Galgorm's got great food and it's got the great spa, but you can only eat so much food, and you can only go to a spa so often where you actually then have to turn around and say, I need to go and do something. And the days of people just, I'll go for a walk along the river, or I'll go for it here. No, they're looking for more. And if you can take that proposition to them, in some aspects, that's why Airbnb set up Airbnb experiences, because people were booking the accommodation and they thought, well, actually, they're now looking for things to do. So that's really my take on it.
Jim,
did you want to say something?
Yeah, I have a good relationship with Beth Swindlehurst. They had a market in
Yes.
Galgorm, and if Elwyn, if you and Adam, I'm going to have some of their marketing people down on the boat one of these days, and if you wanted to join us and we could put a joint thing to them, I have no issue with that, because we all offer very different things. And you know, I'm 20 minutes from Galgorm and Portglenone or Toon, and you're on the coast, and Adam, you're working on the coast as well, or there's a possibility that you could work on the river and we could put something jointly to them. But I think the thing for us to do is to let their staff experience what we offer, and then they can talk about it.
Jim, you're absolutely spot on there. Can actually, it's their staff that want to talk about it. They're talking to the guests, and the guests will turn around and say, we're here for 3 nights. It's great. You're a great hotel. What are we going to do? Oh, well, actually, I was just on, or I just did. And it was fantastic. And therefore that they become your sales tool. Brilliant. Great stuff.
Yeah.
If Elwyn, if you and Adam want to sort of message me or whatever, I've no hassle, I'll organise it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, Jim. And if there was a group of hoteliers meeting sometime, it would make sense to sit down with all the hoteliers at the same time rather than an ordinary hotel in the country.
No, that's something I can definitely help with that. So I think Jim's right. If you guys can get together and look at, okay, so what's your offering going to be, and then you can come, just talk to me, and then we can get these things set up, and you can just come and present.
I think that was one of the things, Jason, and that's why tonight's been brilliant. There was threads appearing and through the one-to-one chats we were having, and I think just being the catalyst to pull things together, and the guys getting together, that in itself is a step forward in terms of starting to do the right things, which I think I'm feeling quite good about this bit.
And I think guys, if once you've got it pulled together, you know, I'm happy to meet with you and talk, because as I said, my main job is going out and promoting Middle East Antrim. So the more offerings that I can go out with, the better for me. And if I really understand what your product is, there's so many times where you're out and you're just talking to an operator and you just mention about something, and suddenly you're like, oh yes, we have a division that does that, or we have clients who are looking for that. You know, it's all about just communicating what we have out to operators.
Okay, that's good.
You guys.
Great, thank you.
Thanks for, seriously, I appreciate everybody just staying on there, and apologise for my incompetence earlier on in terms of setting up groups. I hope your dinner's not burnt, and I wish you a pleasant evening, and I'll be catching up with most of you, I think, next week. So thanks for just staying on. It's been insightful for us as well, and because we're delivering it and we're not sort of in region, it just helps us coordinate things with yourself, Jason, which has been brilliant. Thank you very much.